Minecraft speedrunning is a storm that took over YouTube like no other speedrun ever has before, and speedrunning Minecraft any percent is a skill that a bountiful amount of people have managed to pick up on over the years. So on my nostalgia train of rewatching all of Dream's manhunts, I concluded that fuck it, I'll become the next top speedrunner, but no way am I at the standards of Dream or any other Minecraft speedrunners. Then it struck me, I bet I know more about success in the bedroom than those nerds. Kiss! I ended up coming up with the idea of sex percent. Random seed spawn fastest to get 2 villagers to shag on 1.20.2 vanilla Minecraft. I searched up on trusty Google to look for anyone else to see if this has been pulled off before, but it turns out searching up Minecraft speedrun sex gives a lot of unfortunate results. However, I did find this person from 3 years ago who was claiming to have the Minecraft sex percent world record of 1 minute and 45 seconds, which is now my set goal to beat. The only thing left to do now is root the run and practice before I stream and pronounce myself the Love Blockter. I'm gonna quickly run through how to have 2 villagers breed, since before researching this video, I had no idea. Essentially, 2 villagers need to be assigned a bed each nearby, along with another bed spare for the baby villager. Along with that, both villagers need to have a full inventory of food, which consists of either 3 bread or 12 of each of these foods. But we're gonna go for 3 bread, so don't worry about the other foods for now. There are a lot of other tiny things I learned during practice and research, such as villagers being able to do it in a boat, which is pretty fun. But for the most part, it was pretty much all irrelevant. After a smidge of tinkering, I came up with the first plan to finish in under 1 minute 45. First off, I spawn near a village. If I don't see a village within about 30 seconds, then I reset the seed. Next up, I find 2 hay bales and 3 logs and make a crafting table, then sticks, then a boat, then a spade, then 6 bread. I then find 2 villagers and try and put them in a boat ASAP. After this, I dig a 2x3 hole underneath them before breaking the boat and throwing the bread to them. The main thing with this strat, which we're gonna call 3 log, is that it's not impossible, but very hard considering the amount of variables. I spent around an hour of practice with this method before I messed up one too many times and came to the conclusion it was just simply not fast enough. There was one specific run where everything was perfect, but I still only managed to finish in 2.5 minutes. I knew something had to change. So I went back to the drawing board and looked at where I could cut time. At this point, I imagine you're screaming at your screen, why the hell am I digging a hole if the villagers are in boats anyway? And viewer, you're exactly right. I call this strat 2.5 log, as you still need 3 logs for the 9 planks for the crafting table and the boat, but there's no need to waste time making the sticks and the spade and even the hole, cutting down a substantial amount of time. I tried this strat for a while and I could tell it was absolutely way faster, but still not fast enough. I had a run that neared 2 minutes, which meant it was possible, but just still not close enough for me to get the world record. I would like to mention, I didn't actually watch the video from this person, so I have no idea how they did it, but I imagine it was something similar to this. Anyway, I still wasn't going fast enough, and so I was back to the drawing board yet again. At this point, doing practice for a couple hours, I noticed that at some points, if I was really lucky, at the start of a new world, when a village is loaded for the very first time, there's a semi-decent chance that villagers will spawn directly next to each other, which gave me an idea. This takes me to the third and final strat for this video, the one I ended up using on stream, 1 log strat. The idea of this strat was pushing a high risk, high reward to its limits. Step 1, break the 2 hay bales. Step 2, break a singular log. Step 3, make the crafting table and the bread. Step 4, begin the breeding. And this step 5 is new too. While they're breeding, grab as many beds as possible, up to 3 if I can, and then place them next to the villagers. Going back into my research world, I actually experimented a little and noticed that villagers take around 20 seconds before they realize that there's no beds and cancel the breeding, giving me enough time to start the breeding to have the baby earlier, but also not waste any time going out of my way to get beds. And that's it. That's 1 log, the way to truly steal this world record once and for all. I practiced a little bit before a few runs in which I got really close in both luck and time, and I began streaming runs to capture it all live for the world to see. I think I've just ran through the whole thing. I think we can just get into it now, so fuck it, let's go. Going into stream, I was on just over 100 runs, with complete and utter confidence that I could pull this off fairly swiftly. Lord almighty was I wrong. After a few runs, I did manage to actually pull off some strats, making it pretty close a few times. There was one specifically where I was insanely close to making it to even sub 1 minute. I need to retime it! Holy fuck! Which had me unbelievably chuffed. I was so confident in myself that I actually even stopped recording to rewatch it just to double check I'd put the bed down in time. It wasn't there, kid. But unfortunately, I didn't get it off. But this run, 152, was big for me going forward. I learned 2 things from this. Getting beds in time are a lot more crucial than I thought, and I need to grab beds throughout the run rather than at the end. And secondly, you can do this run much faster than a minute 45. If I did get the beds down, I was looking at a sub 110. And even so, that run in itself was nowhere near perfect, meaning we could absolutely rip that run apart. Another important gameplay mechanic I learned from speedrunning this is that you can actually spawn inside of a village, making the run a lot easier as I practically skipped the whole first split. This wasn't essential to obtain the world record, but if I had a run that started within the village, it upped the chances significantly. Going from 2.5 log to 1 log seemed to be far more detrimental than I had originally imagined. See, adding that other layer of RNG to the run, on top of the bread and actually finding a village made it all too hard. Most of my runs to the stream actually died from not managing to have 2 villages next to each other, which was a huge crush in spirit when everything before that went immaculately. You fat fuck! I didn't count the amount of runs this happened to, but weirdly, I think the biggest crush in spirit is actually this run, in which I spawned next to a pink sheep, and it blew my mind that I managed to pull the odds off in guessing that before I got lucky enough to simply have 2 villages next to each other and have them breed. And then, I ran out of time. Very hasty side note, but I was going to Scotland for a week the day after this stream, and I didn't manage to pull it off before getting the video out. Lost, upset, and disappointed in myself, I hung my coat up and put a pin in it until next week. Then I did something stupid. Very stupid. A mistake I will never ever make again. I called up my university and took the next day off. No, you don't understand. This is Minecraft sex we're talking about. I had 2 extra hours to sink into these runs, as one final Hail Mary before I called it quits. And then an hour and 45 minutes into recording, this happened. Oh, I did it! 425 attempts. 425 attempts. That's it, baby. That's a new world record. Oh my god, I actually did it. So what happened here? What happened to 1 log? The avid Minecraft players watching this probably knew of this from the start of me mentioning 1 log, but 1 log isn't technically required, which takes me to this absurd technique. No log. There's a decent chance when you spawn into a game where, in the chests around the village, there's already bread. The only problem is that you have to be lucky enough to get 6 bread from these chests, which I was absolutely not lucky enough to have happen to me most of the time. But in this run, this golden run number 425, after 5 hours of runs, I spawned inside a village, and in the first few chests I checked, I found 12 bread. 12 bread is absurd. Unheard of in my case, and I saw my trophy shimmer before me. The time in this run was nuts. I mean, I had bread in what, 12 seconds? I had over a minute to get 3 beds and 2 villages. I felt my heart drop as I ran around and I couldn't find 2 together anywhere. But then the match made in heaven came down before me. I had more than enough bread to give them. I just had to hope they both picked up 3 each and started going at it. I watched them. Call me a cuckold, but I sat and watched them with my fingers crossed and glimmer in my eyes. At first, I assumed the breeding had failed, as I couldn't see a baby. How incorrect I was. I did it. I had to retime the run, but I got it in under a minute 30. Gleeful, blissful, and just unbelievably proud of these 2 lovebirds. I had done it. I got the Minecraft sex percent world record. Now, on reflection, the run could have been faster. I could have been luckier and swifter with my movements, but after 450 runs and my girlfriend waiting for me in Scotland, I didn't have time to give it another chance. If you'd like to see me get sub 1 minute and do another video on it, I'll give it a like goal of 100 likes. If we get that, I think that's reasonable. But until then, I'll see you next time.